Kakadosh Boker Or, Daf Yomi Masechet Avodah Zarah Daf Kafei Amud Aleph 25a1. Vayidom Hashemesh v'yareach Amad Ad Yikom Goy Oyevav. So mamash, we're starting a new pasuk. It's a pasuk in Yoshua that basically the sun stopped until they were finished taking vengeance from their enemies. So he says, Halo, hi ketubah al Sefer Yashar. This is already written on Sefer Yashar. My Sefer Yashar, what does it mean now, Sefer Yashar? Amar Bichia Barabba Amar Yochanan. The Sefer Avraham Yitzav Yaakov. This is the Sefer Avraham Yitzav Yaakov, which were called Yesharim. Shnemar Tamot Nafshi Mot Yesharim. This is incredible because this is this week's parasha. This week's parasha, Bil'am comes and he says to Balak, I want to die like the righteous, like the. So he wanted to die like them, but he didn't want to live with them. Because it's very easy to die in a very high level, but to live with that level, you know what it is? Coming Shachrim Michanavit, coming to Mishmar, learning, or a Chaim HaKadosh on the day of his Hilula, right? You know what it is? Instead of some people, they come, some people, they don't understand. So for them, it's very difficult to live such a life. They could die such a life, but but to live such a life, you know what it is? To live, mamash, erev avokav v'tzaorayim and everything. Very difficult. Yeah? Even worse. Even more. V'hecha remiza. So where's the remes? V'zaro yem elo hagoyim. It says that the children will be amongst the nations. When are we going to be? Right? Meaning that it was for the children of Ephraim. And he says that in that the entire world saw and they were afraid because the sun stopped for us. Who's been Ephraim? Yoshua. Yoshua bin Nun came from the tribe of Lemate Ephraim. Hoshea bin Nun, right? He came from the tribe of Ephraim. So, right, which comes from Yosef. So therefore, the sun stopped for Yoshua in order that we would be able to finish off our enemies. And that's when all the people were afraid of us because they saw the miracles, the open miracles, right, that happened to us. So says the Gemara as follows: Vayamod Hashemesh b'hasi hashamayim. So the sun stopped in the middle of the heavens. Velo atz lavo b'kiyom tamim, and it just say they. V'kama Amar Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi 24 shai, 24 hours. Azil sheet, it went 6 hours as normal. The kam sheet, it stayed for 6 hours. Azil sheet, right, it went for 6 hours as normal. The kam sheet, it stayed for 6 hours. Kula milta, the entire thing was like a yom tamim. So it was mamash like 24-hour period. That means for a full 24 hours, it was only day. And they just continued attacking and killing, right, their enemies. No, there was one other time also. Right? It says over here, Yom Tamim. Rabbi Lazar says, Sheloshim v'shit. It was 36 hours. Azil shit, it went 6 hours. It stayed 12 hours up in the Shemaim. It went another 6 hours, and then it stayed there for 6 hours. Amidatok Yom Tamim. So the time that it stopped was like a regular day of 12-hour period. So it was 36 hours in total, because 12 hours it stopped in the middle of the sky. A third shita, Shmuel Bar Nachmani Amar, 48, it was 48-hour day. Azil Shita went 6 hours. V'kam Treisar, it stayed for 6 hours, 12 hours. Azil Shita went another 6 hours. V'kam Esrim V'arba, and it stayed for 24 hours. Shneman velo atz lavo ki yom tamim. It didn't want to continue going. Miklad miikar alav ki yom tamim. But mashma at the beginning was not like a yom tamim. Okay, until here we're clear. Okay. Ika de amri. Right? Some people say betosefta plige. The machloket is what was added on during the day. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi says it's 24. Azil shid v'kam treisa, azil shid v'kam treisa. That was basically, it went 6, stayed for 12. Went 6, stayed for 12. Famidatok yom tamim. Rabbi Lazar Amar, right? Shloshim v'shesh, it was 36. Was azil shid kam treisa, azil shid v'kam esrim v'arba. So it went for 6, stayed for 12. Went for 6, stayed for 24. Which is like it says in the pasuk. Shmuel Nachmani Amar 48 azil shid v'kam esrim v'arba. Azil shid v'kam esrim v'arba. Makisha midato lebiato. It's like a kesh. The going like the coming. Just like biato was going to be like a full day, so to midato was going to be like a full day. So basically, this ika damri is the same 3 shitot, whether it's going to be of 24, 36, or 48, but just how do you learn it? Okay? Until here, meaning how do you learn it? Okay? Yes. Oh, yeah. 100%. Tana, right? We learned in a Braita. Keshem shamda lo chama Yoshua, kach amda lo chama Moshe and Nagdimon ben Gurion. You remember, everyone who remembers the story of Nagdimon ben Gurion in Tanit? Doctor, what's the story of Nagdimon ben Gurion? So Nagdimon ben Gurion was basically the story, if you remember, of that we needed rain. And what happened was we needed a lot of rain. So what he did was he went and he borrowed a lot of water. And then he told the person in charge, he told the goy, he told him, listen, either I'm going to pay you back water or I have to pay you back a lot of money. So the guy comes and he says, okay, fine, no problem. And he gave them all the water for the Jews. So that way they would have water when they go up to do Aliyah L'Regel. And what happened was that there was no water. There was mamash no water. So it's coming the same day. And he tells him, and he starts dancing around the guy. And he tells him, I'm going to become filthy rich. Why? You're going to have to pay me a fortune. So he says, don't worry about it. It comes already the afternoon. And the guy is already preparing himself in the bathhouse. He's enjoying himself. Comes Nagdimon ben Gurion, he comes out and he says to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please, right? We need rain. So all of a sudden they went and it started raining and raining and raining and raining and raining. It filled up all the pits. But then what happened was that when all of a sudden, right, he comes to him and he says, Baruch Hashem, you see. So the guy started laughing. He says, what are you talking about? It's already nighttime, because it was basically already nighttime. And therefore it's my rain. It's not yours. You still have to pay me. So then HaKadosh Baruch Hu made another miracle that the clouds cleared and all of a sudden it became sunny again.
He cheated.
And it was a cheating. It was for sure it was a cheating, right? It was because really it was already nighttime. It was already during the time of the Mincha. Meaning according to nature, it was already nighttime. But it came back. So then the Goy came and he said, I know that your God loves you. Look how many miracles he did for you for this. Just like Mamash. I mean, not only did he fill up the cisterns full of rain and he filled up the pits full of rain, but he actually even made it Gidei again. That's the story of Nagdimon ben Gurion. But it also happened to Moshe Rabbeinu. Right? So the Gemara is going to say, At ya'achel achel. It's Gzera Sheva achel achel. Right? They were looking it up, I guess. K'tiv acha, but it says over there, right? Achel tat pachtecha. Right? That you're going to be fearing of all the nations. And it says, Uchtiv atam, and it says over there, Yoshua achel godlecha. What does that mean? It's Gzera Sheva. That just like it became greatness of Yoshua bin Nun because the sun stopped, so too it's going to be the greatness of Moshe Rabbeinu. It's Gzera Sheva. Rabbi Yochanan says there's another one, another Gzera Sheva. Tet tet. It's written. It says Achel tet pachtecha. Yeah, Uchtiv Yoshua, and it says V'yom tet Hashem et ha'emori. So it's another Gzera Sheva. Shmuel Nachmani Amar migufe dikra shaman. You actually learn from the pasuk in itself because it says Hayom hazeh today. Right, they're going to be fearful of you. Right, that they're going to listen to what you've done. They're going to be afraid of you. When are they going to be afraid of you? When the sun stopped for Moshe Rabbeinu. So therefore you see from here that Mamash didn't happen. So it says the Gemara Meitre, but we have a question. It says in Yoshua that this never happened. Meaning, if this happened to Moshe Rabbeinu, why does it say, right, that ki'ilu, that it never happened before? It says, velo haya kayom, it wasn't like such a day, lefanav v'acharav, never before, never afterwards. So answers the Gemara, it was never such a long period of time. Meaning, it did stop for Moshe Rabbeinu, yes, but never for such a long period of time. Like Yoshua. It's another answer of ne barad lo avlu. Right, that they were not avnei barad. Meaning, when it happened to Yoshua bin Nun, there was also like stones of hail. He threw on them big stones from the Shemaim ad Azkav Yamutu, and they just started dying. Meaning, not only did HaKadosh Baruch Hu make that the sun stopped, he was throwing at them a hail, like hard, big.
Where they had the stones?
Yes, in Joshua. To help them with the battle, to kill out the enemies. Yeah?
Love it.
You love this, no, Richard? This sounds like an incredible.
I would like to have been there.
For sure. You could sell this in a. No, Moshe Rabbeinu passed away. If Yoshua is in charge, it's Moshe Rabbeinu already passed away. Of course, he was a student, and he went a few times. He was the spy. He was with the Canaanim to go into Israel, land of Israel. It's written of Yomer. David HaMelech comes and he says, right, Lelamed b'nei Yehuda kashet. What does it mean, Sefer Yashar now? What's going on over here? Because here we're talking about Sefer Yashar. So he says, Amar Rav Chia bar Abba Yochanan, it's the Sefer of Ram Tzvi Yaakov. Remember, it's always the Sefer of Ram Tzvi Yaakov that they were called Yesharim. Tichtivu was a Svetu Tamono Shei Mot Yesharim, Tichti Tekmo. The Hechal means the words a hint when it says Yudata Yuducha Achecha Yadecha B'Oref Oyevecha, meaning there's going to be a milchama that it's going to be Keneged Oref. What is that? The Milchemet Keshet. It says over here. Because when you pull back on the string of the not the bow and arrow, so it says it's going to be mul oref, because basically you go back, so you're putting it towards your nape, towards the back of your head. So he says that's the milchemet keshet. He says over here, that's what it means. Yadecha be'oref oyevecha. Your hand is going to be by the nape of your enemy. Rabbi Lazar says Sefer Yashar is not Avraham Tzvi Yaakov, right, which is in Bereshit, but rather it's going to be Mishneh Torah, Devarim. Why is it Devarim called Sefer Yashar? Right? Shaloi Pakem Moshevo, Mr. Devarim. Yeah, so he says, why is it called Sefer Yashar? Tichtiv, it says in a pasuk, Ve'asita Yashar ve'atov b'nei Hashem. You have to always do the Yashar ve'atov. Right? What does it mean Yashar ve'atov? Not in the middle of shiur, you have phones and this that. Ve'asita Yashar ve'atov, you have to do good. Right? He's actually learning on the phone. Yeah? Yeah.
Why are we talking about archery?
Because basically what happened was that it says in the pasuk that he's going to die, right? Mot Yesharim. But now he says, but when does that mean Mot Yesharim? Mot Yesharim was talking about Avraham Tzvi Yaakov. When during the lifetime of Avraham Tzvi Yaakov did you see that you needed, right, that Yadecha be'oref oyevecha, that your hands are going to be by the nape of your enemy? So he says that is going to be, right, when you're pulling the bow. When you pull the bow, that's when your hand is against the enemy. Okay?
Thank you.
No problem. So now he comes and he says, Ve'echa ramiza, Yadav ravlo, ve'ez, right? He's got a lot of hands. Ve'ezu milchama, which type of a war needs two hands? The bow. I mean, when you use a sword, all you need is one hand. When you use a bow, you need two hands. So therefore, when it says Yadav ravlo, that he's got a lot of hands, we're talking about obviously with the archery. Okay? A third one, what is Sefer Yashar? Shmuel bar Nachman Yamar is a Sefer Shoftim, it's Shoftim. Why is it called Sefer Yashar? Tichtiv v'yamim hayem en melech v'Yisrael, they didn't have a king at the time. Isha Yashar ben Avdiyah says, so everyone does whatever they want. Whenever there's no king, people do whatever they want. It's like when the rabbi goes out of town. Right? You see whether they come, they do whatever they want. Right? They're playing on their phones. Right? The phones are more important than anything else in this world. Right? He says, Ve'echa ramiza. Exactly. He says, "Leman da'at dorot ben Yisrael lamda milchama, to teach them milchama." What is the milchama that you need limud, that you need to learn? He says it's a keshet. So how did they learn them? And al dichtiv Yehuda, dichtiv mi ale lanu el kranim betchil lachem bo. Vayom en Hashem Yehuda yale. Yehuda are going to go up because they're the ones that they know how to use the arrow. But usually because the arrow, remember, the best thing about the archery is that you're always attacking and you're far away, so they can't hit you. Right? Of course. No, but it's just bringing a pasuk. It's bringing a pasuk showing you the hint that we're talking about archery, that they were moshche keshet. Right? How do we know that? Because of this. Because basically, what does it say? It says that David HaMelech went and he said that now that Giborei Yisrael left, right, we're going to teach, right, Lamed Bnei Yehuda Kasha, they're going to teach them the archery. And there it's written on Sefer Yashar. Now, what's the connection between Sefer Yashar and archery? So the first explanation was Avraham Tzvi Yaakov, and how did you see archery? Because it says Yadecha be'oref oyevecha ba'Yehuda. And what does it mean Yadecha be'oref oyevecha? Archery, because when you come and you pull back, your hand is by your nape, and that's against your enemies. The second one was in Sefer Devarim. It says Vasita Yashav Tov. There it says in Parashav Vezot Bracha Yadav Ravlo ve'ezem mitzarav tiyeh. Yadav Ravlo means he needs a lot of hands. Which type of a weaponry needs a lot of hands? Right? It's all the bow. Because that's only one. The other one, you could use one hand. Then the third one, he comes and he says, Shoftim is Sefer Yashar. Why is it called Sefer Yashar? Because it says, Isha Yashar benav yaseh. The people are doing whatever they want. And that's what it means, Yashar. Yashar doesn't mean that they are straight. It means that they're doing whatever is good in their eyes. Right? Some people, they do whatever is good in their eyes. Whatever they want, they do. Whatever they want, they don't do.
Navi, they say that 100 times.
100 times, it's true. Well, you know why? Because people until today, they're still the same way. Yeah,
Everything
changed. 100%. So what happens is, right, that he brings a pasuk. Yeah? Fine. Says the pasuk. Vayarem tabach. It's a shock. We're talking about tabach. Yeah, וירם הטבח את השוק ואלה, וישם לפני שאול, מאי ועליה. Huh? He says, השוק ועליה. He says, Rabbi Yochanan אמר, שוק ועליה. What does that mean? מאי ועליה. The מסמך שוק לעליה. That the shok is close to the aliyah above it. This I need your English, please, Richard. The thigh is beside the aliyah.
Bone supports the tail portion.
Very good.
But he also says shank in the breast.
Because basically he says the leg of the animal, right? That's three chalakim. You've got the arkuva, the shok v'yarech. So the shok is supporting the yarech. So the shok, right, is supporting the thigh, right? So he says, and the aliyah is mechuberet to it. So he comes and he says, Rabbi Elazar comes and he says, shok v'chazeh. It's not the shok v'aliyah, it's the shok v'chazeh in the breast. Mai v'aliyah v'alea, temachi lechazeh ilaveh the shok kibae anufe. He says, was when a person comes and he puts his on the chazeh and the shok, when he's doing the hanafa, the waving of the animals. Umanafile. V'Rav Shmuel Panachmeni Amar shok v'shofi. What does that mean? It's the part which is around it.
Cap of the thigh bone.
The cap, thank you, of the thigh bone. He says, because shofi laveh the shok kai. Okay, fine. We're going back to the Mishnah. We're going back to the Mishnah. The Mishnah said that a woman should not have yichud with a Gentile because, right, they're chashudim on arayot. They're suspected for immoral relations. So, b'may askina, what are we dealing with? If you're going to tell me now with one goy, so then Gabi Yisrael also is the same halacha. Meaning, why are you only telling me, right, by a non-Jew? Even by a Jew, right? If you have a woman by herself with a man, that's called yichud. So what do you have to tell me now with goy? Mishari? That's now we learned in the Mishnah. Lo yitached ish im echad. That a man cannot have a yichud even with two women, right? Because even, and this is even with Israel, right? Because again, we're going to suspect that, one of them might go away, this, that, whatever, and then that's it. There's a problem with yichud, right? Kafeh Amud Bet, 25b. Ela, but rather betlata. We're talking about even with three people, meaning usually by Jews. This is a Ramah, right? The Ramah in the Shulchan Aruch in the Code of Jewish Law. He comes and he says one Jewish man is allowed to have yichud with three women, right? One woman with three men. One woman with three men. So he comes and he says why? He says why? Because if there's going to be three men, even if it's going to be that one of them will go to the washroom, there's always two men there. So for there's nothing going to happen. So now he comes and he says, yeah, but by Yisrael prutzim, it's also asur. Meaning there's always anashim prutzim. Anashim that they always like their, hot chocolate with marshmallows and all those things. So there's prutzim. What are prutzim? Prutzim are the people that they come and they are parutz. Yeah, they're parutz. Right? They're promiscuous, I think the word is in English, Richard. Vatnan, yeah, so Vatnan we learned in the Mishnah. It's only with kosher people. But with prutzim, even 10 you're not allowed to.
It has to be also in the city, not
yes.
in the desert.
There were 10 prutzim that took out a woman, that she was a married woman. They took her out in the mitah, ke'ilu that they were burying her. And then they went and they had relations with her. There were 10 men, right? What? Yeah, no. So showing, no, because they were showing that ki'ilu, that when we're talking about prutzim, Elmaleh the bed, there's always going to be a problem. When people are promiscuous, it doesn't matter how many. The numbers is not going to change anything. No. So he says velot tzricha, right? B'ishto imo. We're talking about that even if the goy has his wife with him, it's still going to be prohibited. Why?
You don't care.
Oved kochavim and mishto mishamarto b'zvayid. Oved kochavim, the wife doesn't really care. He says, "By Israel ishto mishamarto." The wife,
You can say that again.
you see, Richard is talking. He says, "Yeah." What do you mean today's one? Oh, she's gonna watch over her husband. Whoa. Yeah. So that's the Gemara. What do I care about the arayot? Why not suspect for murder? We said that a man should also not be by himself because they're going to murder him. So the exact same thing here. Meaning, if she's by herself here, they might murder her. So Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah B'isha Chashuva Askinan. We're talking about a very important woman. So they're afraid of killing her, but they're not afraid of starting up with her. Meaning they'll come and they'll start something with her, but they're not afraid of it. So that's why it says it's a sur because of Gilui Rayot. That's the first answer. Ravidi Amar, Ravidi comes and he says, Isha Klei Zeina Aleha. We spoke about this in another Gemara. A woman has her armor on top of her.
Right.
She's armed.
She'll have relations and the man will cool off and not
because of her body. Her body is her arms. She doesn't need weapons. Her weapons is her body. Yeah? Kli zain, right? Weapons. Her body is her weapons. What does that mean? He says because if she's beautiful enough, he'll just have relations with her and then he won't kill her. So therefore, that in itself, she doesn't need to take out a weapon to defend herself. That's her body is her weapon. What's the difference? The difference between them is Isha Chashuva ben Anashim, V'She'ena Chashuva ben Anashim. If she's an Isha Chashuva between men, right, which means that she's Krova Lamalchut, she's very important, and she's She'eno Chashuva ben Anashim, or that she's not beautiful. So according to Rabbi Yirmiyah, it's mutal l'tiachad because again, we're not suspecting of shvichut damim, because they're not going to murder her because she's close to the kingdom, so she's chashuva, she's important, and not because of arayot either. But according to Ravidi, asur l'tiachad because kol sheken, right, kol anashim, just like avarayot. Etanya kavaten, we learned like Ravidi baravina isha fal pisha shalom ima lo titachad imim nechashidun al arayot. Right, again, even though for sure they're not going to kill her, you still have to not have seclusion because they're going to be suspected of arayot. What?
Yes.
We also said that a human being, a man, should not have yichud with a goy. He says why? Because they might kill him, they might murder him. What happens right now if Israel finds an oved kochavim going in the same way on the path? So he says toflo limino, right? Make sure that the oved kochavim is going to be to his right. Why? In order that he should be able to see the oved kochavim if he wants to come, right, and kill him. So the Israel would be able to take his right hand and stop him. Meaning, if he's a righty, and now the guy is on it's very difficult. He's gonna, by the time he comes and it's gonna be too difficult. So make sure he's always on the right, so that way he could always stop him, right, with the right. Okay. So he says, and however, the Rishmon man, no, besaif toflo, if he's got a sword, get to his right, but if he's got a makel, go to his left. Right, in order that because basically it's always going to be it's only trying to teach you how to react basically. Hayu olin b'ma'ala, right, in yordim b'yiridah. They're going up a mountain, right, or up a stone, and one of them has to go in front of the other one. Lo yeh Yisrael lemata. The Jew should never be underneath, and the goy on the top, but rather the Israel should go on top, and the Vekachim on the bottom. Right? Obviously, why? Because if he's on the bottom, it's much more difficult to basically the guy's trying to come up, the guy from down below could just come and give him a blow. It's much more difficult to stop him. So that's why the Jew should always be on the top. Right? He says, Ve'al yashoach lefanav, never bound down in front of him. Shema yarotz, because maybe he's going to come and he's going to crush his gulgalto, his gulgolet, his skull. She'alo lechan olech, if he asks you where you're going, yarchiv lo aderech, always tell him that you're going further away. Right? Just like Yaakov Avinu did. There's just Yaakov Avinu le Tichtiva, the Sherev in Seira. He went to Sukkot, he never went to Seir. Masechet Talmidei Rabbi Akiva, there was a story with the students of Rabbi Akiva, Sheyulchim Lichziv, they were going to Chziv. Hagumen La'istim, the Lisim came, Amrullah, and they said, where are you guys going? Amrullah La'ako, they said to Akko. Kevin Shigiu Lichziv, when they got to Chziv, Pirshu, right? What happened is that they separated from them, because they saw how they, Amrullah and Miatem, who are the students, who are you the students of? And they told them, Talmidei Rabbi Akiva, we're the students of Rabbi Akiva. Fortunate is Rabbi Akiva and his students that nobody bad ever came to them, which means that even though Rabbi Akiva was a Suradu Gemalchut, right, which actually, he caused it himself, basically.
Well, how did it help them that they said to Akko when they turned off it says it? What's the difference? How did that out with them?
Because basically that he comes and he says that the listim were from Israel, so therefore when they got there, it's like they got to their home country, so now they're protected. Meaning like this: if you're a foreigner, right, and you come and you say, "Where are you going?" You're going to New York, right? Now you live in North Carolina, so when you got to Charlotte, when you got there, right, that's your home country. So now you're protected. Now they can't do anything to you. So now what are they going to do? The police, everyone,
little by little, waiting for a good opportunity.
Exactly.
Plenty of time left.
Exactly. And really, Be'emet, now, no, they didn't have any time left because it was already too late. Okay, and another very similar story of Menashe. Oziel, we're going to go to the Mishnah on Kavav Amud Aleph, 26 to the Mishnah. Lebe Torta, he was going to a certain place. Charubi Ganave, there were Ganavim that came. Amrule, they told him, Luka Azalta, where are you going? Amarle, and he told them, Pumpadita. Right? Kimata, when they went to Betorata, Parish, he separated from them. Now, the Ganavim, they were like, hey, well, what's going on here? The guy just left, and that's it. And now that's it. Like, he's in his own country. He knows, everyone knows exactly who he is. They're going to stop anybody that comes towards him. Amrule, they said, Talmidat Yehuda Ramat. You're a Talmid of Rav Yehuda Ramai, right? That you learned Ramaut from Yehuda. Amar Leu Yedita Le. You know Rav Yehuda that he's a Ramai. He says you guys should be Bishamta, right? Why? Because of the klala. Because since Rav Yehuda was an Adam Gadol and it was a klala, so they put him in cherem. Azlu avdu genivata simetat shnin. They went and they did geneva for 22 years. Velo atzlachu, and they never had success. I mean, because of his curse, 22 years. Imagine on the job and never getting one thing. Kevan de chazu. Once they saw that, look how powerful is the klala. Atu kulhu tavu shmatayhu. All of them went and they wanted to get rid of the klala. But there was one of them that he didn't come to get rid of the klala. Achla aryeh, right? The ari came and he ate him up for supper, right? Who was this Rav Yehuda? He comes and he says, Rav Yehuda ya adam gadol, right? V'kilato, and the klala, right, was chal. So because it was chal, right, that's it. So basically, he went and he says that look what happened, right? So kilel rak Rav Menashe the Ganavim b'shamta shel Rav Yehuda, meaning since Rav Yehuda is a Adam Gadol and these Ganavim are saying something disgracing Rav Yehuda, he's going to curse them in the curse of Rav Yehuda because they went against Rav Yehuda. So he cursed them, and the second that he cursed them, boom, that's it. That's what people say. Girdana de la Tavian, Taizan, sorry, shatim betzid mishneh. The oreg, because this guy was a weaver. So if he's not an anav, right? So Shanani, he's going to lose a year from his life. And what look at the difference between Ganavim Bavel and we've seen that it's Israel. Here we're talking about the Ganavim of Bavel, that they had such an audacity that they went and they cursed out, right? And therefore, basically they went and they cursed out Rav Yehuda, so therefore they were cursed, right? And look at the difference between the listim of Eretz Yisrael that they were asking, right? The students of Akiva, who are you? And fortunate are the students of Akiva. Meaning, look at the difference even between the robbers. The robbers in Eretz Yisrael, they were actually even praising Rabbi Akiva and his students. The robbers in Bavel were cursing them a guy out. So for they got cursed out.